The July heat rolled through the quiet neighborhood like waves from an oven. Cars moved slowly. Sprinklers clicked across green lawns. And on the corner of Maple Street, a tiny lemonade stand sat beneath a crooked yellow umbrella. 8-year-old Lily Parker smiled proudly as she adjusted the hand-painted sign. Fresh lemonade, 50 cents. Her little hands were sticky with sugar. Her cheeks glowed pink from the heat. And beside her sat a small mason jar with only $3 inside. She wasn't selling lemonade for toys. She wasn't saving for a bicycle. She was trying to help her mother pay hospital bills. But across the street, someone was watching. Karen Whitmore, president of the neighborhood association. Perfect lawn, perfect makeup, perfect smile that vanished the second someone broke her rules. She stared through her kitchen window with narrowed eyes. Then she whispered coldly, "This is exactly what's wrong with this neighborhood." Lily waved politely at passing cars. Karen didn't wave back. Instead, she picked up her phone and dialed 911. Little Lily had no idea. Her entire life was about to change. Lily lived with her mother, Emma, in a tiny rented house near the edge of town. Things hadn't always been hard. Before the accident, Emma worked 2 jobs. Before the hospital bills. Before the debt collectors. Before the stack of red notices on the kitchen counter. But 6 months earlier, a drunk driver changed everything. Emma survived. Barely. Now she walked with pain every day. And money disappeared faster than they could earn it. One night, Lily overheard her mother crying in the kitchen. "We're trying, ma'am. Please don't shut the electricity off." That was the moment Lily made a decision. The next morning she taped together cardboard boxes, borrowed lemons from their elderly neighbor, and built the lemonade stand herself. To Lily, this wasn't business. It was love. And the neighborhood noticed. Drivers smiled. Teenagers tipped extra. An old man bought 3 cups even though he hated lemonade. People loved seeing a little girl trying to help her mother. Everyone except Karen. Because Karen believed rules mattered more than people. And in Karen's world, children didn't belong on sidewalks running illegal businesses. She marched outside with sunglasses covering her angry eyes. Her heels clicked sharply across the pavement. Lily looked up nervously. "Oh, would you like lemonade, ma'am?" Karen stared at the stand like it was garbage. "Do you have a permit?" Lily blinked. "A what?" "A permit," Karen snapped. "You can't sell food in this neighborhood without authorization." Lily's smile faded. "I'm just helping my mommy." Karen crossed her arms. "That's not my problem." Nearby neighbors watched from porches. The air suddenly felt tense. One woman muttered quietly, "Seriously, Karen." But Karen didn't care. She pulled out her phone. And right in front of the little girl, she called the police. The police cruiser arrived 10 minutes later. Its flashing lights reflected off the lemonade jars. Lily froze. She had never seen police officers this close before. Officer Daniels stepped out first. Middle-aged, calm eyes, tired expression. Beside him came a younger officer who looked confused the moment he saw the situation. Officer Daniels approached gently. "Hey, sweetheart, what seems to be going on?" Before Lily could answer, Karen interrupted dramatically. "This child is operating an unauthorized food stand and blocking the sidewalk." Officer Daniels looked at the tiny table, then at Lily, then back at Karen. "You called 911 for this." Karen lifted her chin proudly. The law is the law. People began gathering nearby. Phones came out. Whispers spread. Lily's eyes watered. I didn't mean to do anything bad. Officer Daniels knelt beside her. What's your name? Lily. And why are you selling lemonade, Lily? She hesitated, then quietly answered. My mommy needs help paying for medicine. Silence. Even the younger officer looked emotional. Corinne rolled her eyes. That story doesn't change regulations. The crowd reacted instantly. What is wrong with you? She's a child. Are you serious? Corinne ignored them. Officer Daniels stood slowly, then said something nobody expected. Well, technically. Corinne smirked proudly. But then he continued. If she's operating a business, she'll need to report earnings. The crowd gasped. Lily looked terrified. Corinne smiled. For one brief moment, she thought she had won. Until Officer Daniels reached into his wallet, placed $20 into Lily's jar, and said, I'll take 4 cups. The crowd erupted into applause. Corinne's smile vanished instantly. But Officer Daniels wasn't finished. He turned toward the neighborhood. Anybody else thirsty? And suddenly, everything changed. Cars started pulling over. Neighbors crossed the street. A construction worker bought 10 cups. A teenager posted the story online. HOA Corinne calls police on little girl selling lemonade. Within hours, the video exploded across social media. Thousands shared it. Then tens of thousands. Comments flooded in. Protect this little girl. This made me cry. That woman should be ashamed. By sunset, Lily's tiny lemonade stand had transformed completely. Someone brought folding chairs. Another neighbor donated cookies. A local bakery delivered cupcakes. The old yellow umbrella was replaced with a huge colorful tent. People lined up down the sidewalk. And Lily, she couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in months, she saw hope in her mother's eyes. But Corinne was furious. She watched from her window as crowds gathered outside. Her peaceful neighborhood had become a festival. Children laughed. Music played. Local news vans arrived. Every cheer from the crowd felt like a personal attack. Corinne stormed into the HOA emergency meeting that night. This must stop immediately. Board members exchanged awkward glances. One man sighed. Corinne, it's a lemonade stand. It's chaos, she shouted. Another member leaned forward carefully. People think we bullied a little girl. Corinne slammed papers onto the table. She broke regulations. But nobody supported her anymore. Even the board looked embarrassed. And outside the building, protest signs had already appeared. Let Lily sell lemonade. HERTS over RULES. Stop HOA bullies. Corinne's control over the neighborhood was slipping. And she couldn't handle it. So she made a dangerous decision. If public humiliation wouldn't stop Lily, she'd destroy the stand herself. The next morning began strangely quiet. Too quiet. Clouds rolled overhead. Wind rattled the lemonade sign. Lily arrived early with her mother. But something felt wrong immediately. The stand was gone. The table. The chairs. The coolers. Everything vanished. Lily stared at the empty sidewalk in horror. No. Her mother covered her mouth. Someone had destroyed everything overnight. The little girl dropped to her knees crying. People nearby rushed over. What happened? Who would do this? Then one neighbor noticed something. A security camera mounted above a garage. The owner quickly pulled up footage. A crowd gathered around the phone. And there, at 2:13 a.m., was Karen, dragging tables into the street, dumping lemonade containers, throwing decorations into trash bags. The crowd exploded in anger. Oh my God! She actually did it. She stole from a child. But the biggest shock came next. Karen hadn't realized the camera recorded audio too. And on the footage, her voice was crystal clear. She's ruining this neighborhood. The video spread online even faster than the first one. National news stations picked it up. People everywhere were outraged. Karen became the most hated person in town overnight. But Lily, she sat quietly beside the empty sidewalk, crying into her hands. Then something incredible happened. A black pickup truck pulled up. Then another. Then another. People started unloading tables, tents, signs, generators, coolers. A local carpenter stepped forward. We're rebuilding. Within hours, the entire town joined together. Not just neighbors. Everyone. Firefighters arrived. Teachers arrived. Church groups arrived. Even Officer Daniels returned carrying giant bags of lemons. And by sunset, what stood on Maple Street wasn't a lemonade stand anymore. It was a movement. 3 days later, the town organized a massive community fundraiser for Lily's family. Hundreds attended. Live music played. Food trucks lined the streets. Donations poured in nonstop. Karen stayed hidden inside her house. Curtains closed. Phone disconnected. But she still didn't know the biggest twist. Because someone important had seen the story online. A man named Richard Holloway, owner of one of the largest restaurant chains in the state. And decades earlier, Richard had once been a poor child selling lemonade too. He arrived quietly during the fundraiser. No cameras. No announcement. Just a simple baseball cap and jeans. He walked to Lily's stand, bought a cup, took one sip, and smiled. That's really good lemonade. Lily giggled. Thank you. Then he asked, how much money have you raised? Emma answered nervously. About $12,000. Richard nodded slowly, then reached into his jacket and handed Emma an envelope. Inside was a check for $200,000. Emma nearly collapsed. The crowd gasped. Lily looked confused. Is that real? Richard smiled warmly. Very real. Tears filled Emma's eyes instantly. But why? Richard looked around at the entire town. Because people who protect children deserve good things. Then he pointed toward Lily. And because kindness should always win. But he wasn't done. He turned toward reporters nearby and made one final announcement. I'm also funding Lily's college education. The crowd erupted. People cried openly. And somewhere behind closed curtains, Karen watched everything unfold on television. Realizing her cruelty had created the exact opposite result she wanted. She tried to destroy a little girl. Instead, she made her unforgettable. Weeks later, the neighborhood looked completely different. Lily's story inspired charity drives across town. Small businesses donated supplies to struggling families. Neighbors actually spoke to each other again. The community became stronger than it had ever been. And Karen, the HOA board voted her out unanimously. People stopped trusting her, stopped respecting her, stopped fearing her, not because anyone attacked her, but because the town chose compassion over control. As for Lily, she reopened her lemonade stand every Saturday. Only now the sign read, "Free lemonade for first responders." Officer Daniels visited every weekend. And every single time, he paid anyway. One afternoon, Lily looked up at her mother and asked, "Do you think something good can come from bad people?" Emma smiled softly, then looked at the busy street full of laughing neighbors. "I think good people make the difference." The camera slowly pulls back. Children running, neighbors smiling, lemonade pouring into cups, and one tiny girl who reminded an entire town. That kindness is stronger than cruelty. Fade out.